El flúor es un gas a temperatura ambiente, de color verde amarillento, de olor penetrante y muy desagradable. Es altamente corrosivo y muy venenoso. Está formado por moléculas diatómicas F2. Es un elemento químico de número atómico 9, situado en el grupo de los halógenos, grupo 17, de la tabla periódica de los elementos. Su símbolo es F. También es el elemento más reactivo de toda la tabla periódica y forma compuestos con prácticamente todos los demás elementos, incluyendo los gases xenón y radón. Es un elemento muy abundante en la corteza terrestre en unos 950 ppm. Y en el agua de mar se encuentra en una proporción de 1,3 ppm. Se obtiene mediante electrólisis. En forma pura, es altamente peligroso y puede originar graves quemaduras en la piel y en las vías respiratorias. Es una potente bomba si se combina con el hidrógeno. Y por si esto no fuera poco, el flúor también reacciona fuertemente con el silicio, por lo que no se puede guardar en recipientes de vidrio. En su estado gaseoso el flúor consigue que el agua, vidrio y otros metales se quemen en una llama brillante. El primer uso que se le dio, como no podía ser de otra manera, fue en el proyecto Manhattan. En la obtención de hexafluoruro de uranio, UF6. Empleado para la separación de uranio. Aún hoy se emplea en los procesos de energía nuclear. Su empleo está muy difundido hoy en día en el recubrimiento de sartenes, hojas de afeitar, y demás utensilios domésticos. Pero a la larga pueden ser peligrosos y cancerígenos. Las autoridades decidieron en su momento, añadir al agua que consumimos dosis controladas de flúor, a la pasta de dientes, enjuagues bucales y un sinfín de etcéteras. Pero solo como medida preventiva contra la caries. La concentración en el agua debe situarse entre 0,7 y 1,2 partículas por millón. Como nos quieren las autoridades. Y digo yo, ¿a quién de nosotros nos han preguntado para hacer eso? Y voy a explicar el por qué estoy en desacuerdo con lo que aparentemente parece ser un acto en nuestro beneficio. Por favor, pónganse los cinturones. Ese flúor que añaden al agua de consumo es un subproducto muy tóxico, obtenido de la contaminante fabricación del aluminio, flúor inorgánico. Como en su día no sabían qué hacer con esa cantidad de residuos fluorados, y coincidiendo con un estudio que decía que el flúor fortalece los dientes, esta gente vio el cielo abierto y a esparcirlo por doquier. Pero lo que no dicen esta manada de come carroñas, es que el exceso de flúor endurece los huesos y dientes, quedando débil por dentro y a la larga se hacen quebradizos. Y no contento con lo que nos añaden al agua y otros productos sin que lo sepamos, es que en nuestras ciudades y zonas industriales estamos expuestos a dosis tremendamente altas. Es flúor inorgánico y su exceso origina caries, osteoporosis, huesos quebradizos, y luego dicen que podía ayudar en su prevención. Daños en riñones, huesos y músculos. Fluorosis, enfermedad que se da especialmente por sobredosis, y cuyos síntomas son moteado del esmalte, aumento de la masa ósea con calcificaciones ligamentarias, especialmente en la columna vertebral, espondilitis deformante. Seguramente alguno dirá, son muy pequeñas cantidades las que se echan, y yo le diré que las lesiones no son inmediatas, pueden tardar 20 años en manifestarse, en casos de sobredosis. La tasa de flúor plasmática permanece constante en casos de exceso. Exceso que vamos aumentando día a día. Luego tenemos el gas de flúor, que expelen algunas fábricas al aire, son mortales de necesidad y no exagero. Luego también lo encontramos en todos los alimentos procesados, ya que el agua que usan está fluorada. ¿Sabían que el fluoruro de sodio está registrado en la EPA, Agencia del Medio Ambiente, como un veneno para ratas? Pero bueno, estamos acostumbrados ya que también se encuentra en el agua que tenemos en la cocina, y que abrimos todos los días para hacernos el café y el té, está contaminada con cloro, plomo, arsénico, flúor y compuestos residuales, más bacterias patógenas súper resistentes. Y me he quedado corto. Tendríamos que utilizar un moderno revitalizador de agua o un filtro purificador, y no sé si eso sería bastante. Existen investigaciones realizadas, que achacan a nuestro amigo el flúor, del provocar cáncer, defectos en el feto, sistema respiratorio, riesgos para el sistema nervioso, gastrointestinal, y urinario. El flúor, se acumula en la glándula pineal, provocando una reducción en la producción de melatonina, una hormona de efectos anticancerígenos que producimos durante el sueño. Investigadores austriacos verificaron en 1970 que incluso un ppm, un parte por millón equivale a un mg por litro, de concentración de flúor. Puede provocar hasta un 50% de daño en las enzimas del ADN que se encargan de reparar las células, lo que acelera el proceso de envejecimiento. Estas fueron las palabras que pronunció el responsable del Departamento Químico del Instituto Nacional de Cáncer, el Dr. de Hamburg, ante el Congreso de USA en julio de 1976. Dijo que, de hecho, el flúor causa más mortalidad por cáncer en humanos y más rápido que cualquier otra sustancia química. ¿Sabían que tiene efectos neurológicos? Investigaciones chinas demostraron que niveles en el agua potable de 3,11 ppm, partes por millón, afectan al sistema nervioso sin consecuencias físicas apreciables. También provoca desorden atencional en humanos, trastornos del aprendizaje en niños, más desórdenes de la conducta. Y lo que es más peligroso, como dije antes, es acumulativo, en este caso en el tejido cerebral. En China también se usó para el control de natalidad. Pero ¿por qué tanto interés de las agencias gubernamentales en su distribución en todos los canales de consumo, aparte del interés de las empresas de producción del aluminio? Pues muy sencillo, se demostró que nuestro amigo amansa el carácter y aún sabiendo de su toxicidad, lo fueron instaurando, pero quizás interesa a una sociedad de zombies deformados, que no piensen mucho y no hagan demasiadas preguntas. También encontramos flúor en el té, medicamentos antidepresivos como Prozac, y en las sartenes y cazuelas antiadherentes de teflón. Me veo en la obligación de decirles que el agua de botella está tratada igualmente con nuestro amigo. Casi todas exceden el límite permitido. Lo más seguro, si es que es seguro, sería un mg/l, pero es que la mayoría no reflejan ningún dato al respecto. En ninguna indica que lleve flúor. ¿Por qué ocultan este dato en sus etiquetas? Bueno, siento haber alarmado a más de uno. Quería seguir dando más información sobre este asunto, pero se me ha hecho tarde y tengo que ir a lavarme los dientes. Aunque pensándolo mejor lo dejaré para otro momento. No confíes en el flúor para evitar las caries.
"66% of United States residents' public water is fluoridated. It is known to have tremendous effects on bone cancer, joint problems, bone weakness, lowered estrogen and testosterone levels, and dental fluorosis, which is yellowing of the teeth and pitting in the enamel. Wouldn't it make more sense to enhance public water with vitamins which are meant to be ingested to promote overall health, rather than putting such a toxic chemical in our water with a bogus explanation that it will improve our dental health? We now know that fluoride causes more dental problems than it solves. Something doesn't seem right about this. Do you honestly believe that these companies care deeply enough for the people to spend large amounts of their own money to fluoridate public water when the people already purchase their own toothpaste? But there's a difference between toothpaste and drinking water. We don't ingest toothpaste. If you go to any hardware store and look at any rat poison product, you will only find one ingredient: sodium fluoride. It is the most toxic ionic molecule outside of potassium dichromate. Now Dannon, along with other companies, have begun fluoridating bottled water. It is becoming increasingly difficult to get away from. And the fact that fluoride is also used in many prescription antidepressants shows that it eliminates aggression and motivation in people.
Fluoride, to my knowledge as a physician, has absolutely no biological benefit whatsoever.
But one of the significant things is that the Russians carried out all sorts of experiments on the people living in the Gulag. One of them, of course, was to fluoridate the water. Why? You fluoridate the water, why people are not as aggressive as they ordinarily would be. In fact, what is the active ingredient in Prozac that is so widely distributed in America today? Well, it's a fluoride compound.
And now, we are finding that public water nationwide is showing up with arsenic, lead, cadmium, and thermonium, which is a radioactive form of lead. Cancer, lowered sex drive, birth defects, sedation, and brain defects. Does this not sound like a wonder drug for anyone aiming to control a population?
It's quite astonishing, Paul, the degree to which environmentalists have not been educated about fluoride. You know, people have an unconscious trust in their doctor or their dentist, and if you can persuade doctors and dentists that fluoride is safe and good, then you're able to reach the rest of the nation. People believe their doctors and dentists, and that was a way of promoting fluoride for Bernays. Fluoride was killing their cattle, destroying their crops. Fluoride given to rats had produced bone cancer and liver cancer, and that those results had been doctored to make it look as though fluoride hadn't caused as much cancer.
The pattern that we saw, it typically is what we see with other neurotoxic agents that are well known to cause a hypoactivity or a memory problem or an IQ problem. When I first presented the results of these studies, one of the individuals sitting and listening to the results, he says, "Do you have any idea what you're saying?" And he says, "You're telling us that we're reducing the IQ of children." And basically I said, yes.
Are you aware that fluoride is in our public drinking water?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. No, I wasn't.
No?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm aware of this. Yes, I've heard that before, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Are you aware that fluoride is in our public drinking water?
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's not a good thing though? No.
I'm aware of it, yeah. Yeah. Now we are, yeah.
Why do you think they put fluoride in the water?
Well, perhaps they want to keep the water clear or something. I have no idea.
My teeth, the enamel on my teeth, perhaps to prevent decay, yeah.
I think they put it in the drinking water like back in the day around the time that penicillin came out as like an oral sort of preventative sort of thing. The same reason that it's in toothpaste and the stuff that you get your teeth clean and all that other stuff.
I don't know, to give it a better taste, to clean it. I don't know. Does it kill bacteria at all?
Clean it out, I guess.
Is it good for your teeth? Some part of your teeth?
To my understanding is to actually, I don't know, sort of clean it, but I think it's all about population control, right?
They tell you it's because it helps, I think, strengthen your teeth enamel, but I have no idea why they really put it in there. I'm not sure.
So, do you feel it's good and safe for us?
Well, I know that we have some of the safest drinking water in the world.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like chemicals being added to things that like don't need to be there. If we already have fluoride in toothpaste, then I don't see why we have to actually be ingesting it. Because you're not actually supposed to ingest it. That's why you spit the toothpaste out, right? So.
No.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, everything that's extra in the water, I don't think that's a good idea.
I would guess if it's in the water, it's because they did some studies and they think it's safe enough.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, on the flip side, when I go to the dentist, I just don't get my teeth cleaned with fluoride anymore because it causes rot and all that other good stuff.
No, probably not.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, well, we live in a first world country, so I doubt it would be a bad thing. I doubt they would want to poison citizens of Canada and Toronto especially.
Well, I know in like the stuff we're supposed to spit it out. Is it bad? Like I'm assuming it's bad for us that we're ingesting it.
For us?
I don't think it's safe at all. It's a poison.
Sodium fluoride, which is what they use, it's a poisonous chemical. It's been scientifically proven to do more harm than good. How does that make you feel about it being in our water?
Well, I would prefer to drink bottled water.
Yeah?
I don't want to drink tap water.
It's kind of creepy, actually, knowing that now.
It's a little alarming.
Not good.
Yeah?
Well, it's really hard to escape because, I don't know if you know, it's also in almost all bottled water. So you have to make sure you look on the front tags of your bottles for 0.0 ppm.
Shit. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I'm blown away. I can't argue that. That's messed up then.
Well, worried about, like, nobody knows about it and it's in there.
That's kind of concerning.
I feel terrible about it, but what can you do?
Unacceptable.
There's not really anything we can do about it.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking that actually.
Yeah. How does that make you feel about knowing that it's in the water?
Iffy.
I don't know.
It seems the general public does not know a whole lot about fluoride, and many are questioning its overall safety. Sodium fluoride, sodium silicate fluoride, and fluorosilicic acid, all used in dental offices, toothpaste, and water fluoridation, are toxic waste substances created from the creation processes in the fertilizer, steel, nuclear, and aluminum industries. These artificial substances should not be confused with the natural occurring fluoride element. Contrary to popular belief, fluoride used in fluoridation practices is not a pharmaceutical-grade substance, but instead industrial toxic waste. When these industries were faced with the problem of how to legally dispose of the excessive amount of toxic waste they were producing, Alcoa, the Aluminum Company of America, the largest producer of fluoride at the time, hired the services of scientist Gerald J. Cox to discover whether fluoride could be beneficial for preventing tooth decay. Gerald Cox, with vested interest, concluded that since the natural fluoride element can help in preventing tooth decay, these poisonous chemicals can also. After the release of Cox's claims, The fluoride waste these industries produced began being trapped in the smokestacks of the factories, collected, put into barrels, and sold to municipalities to add to their drinking water. Before these industries were trapping fluoride emissions, the fluoride pollution was scorching vegetation, killing crops, and crippling livestock. Today, this very same toxic chemical is ingested by millions each day through public water supplies. While these industries solved their waste problems and began profiting, communities are now ingesting an extremely toxic chemical. You most commonly hear of fluoride being used in the dental office or in fluoridated toothpaste, as it is believed to help prevent tooth decay. The unproven theory behind the use of fluoride on teeth is that it combines with tooth enamel to make the teeth harder and more resistant to acid attacks. Hydroxyapatite, a form of calcium on the teeth, is susceptible to too much acid and will break down, leaving teeth exposed to decay. It's assumed that fluoride creates a shield for the hydroxyapatite, and with fluoride being more resistant to acid, it helps protect the teeth. All of these methods apply to fluoride being used topically. We also find the systemic use of fluoride through adding it to public drinking water. In theory, putting fluoride in the water will allow the fluoride to be ingested, pass through the body, and find its way to the teeth so the tooth enamel can be hardened. It is believed that since the use of fluoride, dental and oral health has increased greatly, and it should all be credited to the use of fluoride. Further, although fluoride is recognized as a highly toxic poison by regulation boards, it is still approved and nominated as one of the top 10 great medical innovations of our time by the Center for Disease Control. According to Christopher Bryson, author of the book The Fluoride Deception, fluoride science is corporate science, fluoride science is DDT science, it's asbestos science, it's tobacco science. Simply put, fluoride science is not science or scientific at all. It's distorted science made up by political officials who have a completely different agenda in mind other than public health. In fact, the information we have been fed about fluoride, its effectiveness, and its purpose is all highly in question. Fluoride was added to drinking water in an attempt to lower cavity rates in the late 1940s, as oral health was not up to par. When fluoride was added to public drinking water, it wasn't a whole lot long after that dental records were starting to get better. However, as the graph shows, even countries where the water was completely unfluoridated, the amount of cavities dropped at the exact same rate or better. If we look even further into ingesting fluoride through the drinking water, data shows it has no benefit to the teeth whatsoever. 98% of Europe is completely opposed to having fluoride added to their water supply, versus a great percentage of North America being fluoridated. The dental records in Europe show fewer cavities and tooth decay than what occurs in North America. To put the nail in the coffin of fluoridated drinking water, in Kuopio, Finland, water was fluoridated from 1959 to 1992. As public concern raised about the use of fluoride, it was removed from the water supply in 1992, and dental records got better. With no clear benefit at all, we continue to pump this highly toxic chemical into our water supplies. What about fluoride used topically versus systemically? In other words, fluoride that comes from toothpaste and the dental office. There is no data that shows fluoride used in fluoridation practices helps prevent tooth decay. Even in topically used situations, data has shown that fluoride actually rots teeth as opposed to helping them. Teeth rot when the enamel on the outside of the tooth becomes compromised and acid begins to eat away at the inside of the tooth. If acid sits on the outside of the tooth, over time, it begins to kill the adenosine diphosphatase and the enamel weakens. The problem with fluoride is, once it comes in contact with teeth, it kills the adenosine diphosphatase, which in turn compromises tooth enamel. As the findings of chemist researcher Dr. Gerard F. Judd show, not only does he find that fluoride rots the teeth, but there is absolutely no need for fluoride in creating strong tooth enamel. When looking at the dental records of Americans and Ugandans, Judd found the following. 30% of American youths ages 8 to 10 have no cavities. 100% of Ugandan youths ages 6 to 10 have no cavities. The reason Ugandan youths have 3 times better teeth than American youths is because they do not consume as many acidic foods, have no fluoride in their drinking water, have regular meals rather than sipping on acidic drinks all day, have more calcium and phosphate in their diet, and have fewer dentists to work on their teeth. So not only is there no evidence to show that fluoride helps prevent tooth decay, but there is plenty that shows it is quite harmful for the teeth. Fluoride is also responsible for much more than just tooth decay. Dental fluorosis is a tooth condition caused by fluoride. Fluoride is the only contributor in the creation of dental fluorosis. Dental fluorosis shows up as white or brown spots on the teeth and can also break away and pit at the enamel. Dental fluorosis is typically caused by fluoride exposed to the teeth between birth up to the age of 8. As a result of the use of fluoride, according to the CDC, dental fluorosis is found in 32% of American children. In fact, the effect fluoride can have on developing teeth is so immense that the American Dental Association and Center for Disease Control both state that parents should not be using fluoridated water for their baby's drinking water or formula. Those with evidence of dental fluorosis can also count on having too much fluoride in other areas of the body as well. Skeletal fluorosis is also common when the bones become over-fluoridated. Having too much fluoride in the body poses risks to the organs and greatly increases the rate of cancer. We understand that the fluoride we use in toothpaste, water, and at the dentist is all toxic poison. We understand that there is no science to show these chemicals prevent tooth decay, but that they in fact harm teeth. Safety boards and our governments both know this very well. So why? Why do they continue to pump this toxic chemical into our water supply? The fluoride story starts in 1939, when Alcoa, the aluminum company of America, then the world's largest producer of sodium fluoride, and the Dow Chemical Company transferred its technology to Germany. It was found that fluoridation caused slight damage to a specific part of the brain and neurotransmitters, making it more difficult for the person affected to defend his freedom, causing the individual to become more docile towards authority. Hitler's eugenics program was no secret to anyone. The CIA quickly picked up where he left off, making the chemical control of an entire nation a main part of their research. As research completed by chemist Charles E. Perkins shows, any person who drinks artificially fluoridated water for a period of 1 year or more will never be the same person mentally or physically.
I began to realize that fluoridation was a problem. One of the first things I did is I looked at my tube of toothpaste. It says drug facts. I know it's a drug. If I were to give it to you, it'd have to be a prescription. That's for swallowing. When it comes to toothpaste, it also says don't swallow. And if you do swallow, contact the Poison Control Center. Well, the amount of fluoride that they're talking about is a pea-sized amount of fluoride. You probably don't see that in advertisements, a pea-sized amount of fluoride. Usually when I see an advertisement, it looks more like a Dairy Queen ice cream cone. That amount is 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Well, that's the same amount of fluoride as what we find in 8 ounces of water. 1/4 milligram of fluoride, 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Don't swallow. If you do, call the Poison Control Center.
We're developing a society because of all of these different toxins known to affect brain function. We're seeing a society that not only has a lot more people of lower IQ, but a lot fewer people of higher IQ. In other words, a dumbing down, a chemical dumbing down of society. So everyone's sort of mediocre. That leaves them dependent on government because they can't excel. We have these people of lower IQ who are totally dependent. Then we have this mass of people who are going to believe anything they're told because they can't really think clearly. And very few people of very high IQ who have good cognitive function who can figure this all out. And that's what they want. So, you know, you can kind of piece it together as to why they are so insistent in spending so many hundreds of millions of dollars of propaganda money to dumb down society.
You have to begin to look at things for what they truly are. When we truly look at fluoride, we find that fluoride science was bought and paid for by the companies who were producing the most of it. It was a way for them to dispose of the toxic waste while profiting. Fluoride does absolutely nothing to prevent tooth decay. Of course, all of this benefits those in charge as well, as it creates a mentally docile nation who will believe what is said to them and do what they are told without question. The hard-to-swallow truth is, fluoride is used to chemically control human beings. Not only does fluoride cause issues for the teeth and mental health, but is highly linked and sometimes the direct cause of cancer, kidney disease, thyroid issues, bone disease, arthritis, immune system deficiencies, and the lowering of IQ. In fact, 18 separate human studies have been completed in China, India, Iran, and Mexico that all conclude fluoride is the direct cause of lowering IQ. You are now fully aware that fluoride is not what it seems, and you want to do something about it. So what can you do? When it comes to drinking water, it can be quite difficult to avoid fluoride at times, as it is found in the majority of bottled water as well. Find out if your city water is fluoridated or not. If your city is not fluoridated, drinking tap water versus bottled water will allow you to avoid the fluoride. But this still isn't ideal, as tap water still contains chlorine and other chemicals that aren't good for the body. The ideal situation is to purchase a water filtration system that filters out both chlorine and fluoride. Some better than others, but some also more expensive than others. Make sure the filter is capable of filtering out fluoride. In terms of toothpaste, there are many types of toothpaste out there that do not contain fluoride. Next time you're at the store, check out the various natural brands that do not contain fluoride. You can also use baking soda to brush your teeth instead of toothpaste. At the end of the day, fluoride is so heavily defended by people and some professionals because they are simply going by what they have been taught. They assume that there is actual evidence to show that fluoride is good for us and that it's safe to use. This is the same mentality we have taken towards many other things in our current world. Use materials like this documentary and others to educate your friends and family about fluoride. Gently approach your dentist with this information as well. Most professionals have no intention of harming anyone. They are only practicing what they have been taught. Many dentists have quickly changed their minds about fluoride once they have learned the truth about it. Finally, really think about why those in charge, who know full well what this chemical does, are putting it in our water. Use this same questioning when looking at other deceptions we have been fed. If you have yet to notice, we are in the midst of a mass awakening on this planet. Many are beginning to uncover truths about our world and why things are the way they are. Many are also beginning to realize the biggest deception of all. Bigger than fluoride, economics, education, religion, and so forth. The biggest deception we have been told is that we are a body and a mind, and that's it. There's nothing more and nothing else to our reality. The truth is, you are much more. So much more that if we figured it out, the game would be up for those in charge. This is precisely why our water is fluoridated.